the new frontiers opening up. We are stepping through the portal of the 3D and 4D denseness now into that of the 5th and 7th dimensions, as new frontiers are opening up for humanity. These are new frontiers in energy science, technology, and with it then the ability to work with much higher frequencies and vibrational matter or forms. When one moves from one octave of dimension into the next, one has to break through the barriers which exist between the different dimensional states. Thus the type of matter or forms which held form in the lower dimensions, cannot hold form in the higher dimensions. The forms might still exist in the higher states, but in the totally different frequency band, and therefore embodiment. The true visionaries, the mystics, and those tuned in, have been showing the way for humanity for some time, but now this is moving into superspace, where the manifesting process will speed up considerably. Indeed, we already have entered this superspace, and therefore the new frontiers have opened up. The feminine divine's return has paved the way for the balance to be returned to humanity, and with it then is already opening up what has been closed or sealed off completely with her withdrawal from planet Earth. Massive energy centers, ancient technologies, and ancient knowledge banks were sealed off and closed down during the fall of previous civilizations, which existed in the 7th dimensional state. After the fall of Atlantis, more and more of these were shut down and sealed off, and thus humankind had to live in the last few thousand years in the prison they more or less created for themselves, as they sunk lower than the animal kingdoms. One cannot move into the higher dimensions, if one has not reached a certain degree of consciousness, which truly can bridge the differences between the 3 and 4D, and the 5 through 7th. This is mainly because the physical body of the 3D is so dense, that it cannot hold form in the higher dimensional states, and therefore the mind, as created for this dense body, cannot expand through the barriers of its own caged-in thinking. It literally goes into overdrive and then is shut down. The only way to enter is through the keys and codes programmed into the soul and heart conscious awareness. The gateway to the new frontiers therefore goes through the reconnections of heart, soul, and then the mind. When the soul expands into the mind can expand and hold form. The way to explore the new and higher frontiers now rests on how much the divine masculine will allow himself to move with and through the shift, by being open to the balancing act of the divine feminine now making her presence felt more and more. The divine feminine, when fully awakened, is that of the intuitive, the inner knowing, seeing, hearing, being. She is unconditional love. She is the mystic, the all-seeing and all-knowing conscious I, and she is that which holds the keys and codes to all life and creation within herself. She holds the sun disks, she holds the central suns, she holds the pyramids, and pyramid energy grids, of this planet, as first created. She weaves the strands of energy together, and she holds the serpent, kundalini energies of the earth and cosmos. You cannot get past her. She is that which unlocks the new frontiers, and therefore it is the feminine divine which is leading humanity through the rising of conscious awareness into the new and higher frequency bands and existence. The divine feminine at its core holds all that which is unseen, unexplored, and yet to be invented. She has no beginning and no end. She is what manifests all into form and being. That is why she speaks through visions and dreams. She is the one who is opening the inner eyes and inner hearing of humanity. She is returning the higher frequencies of sound, the keys and codes which she holds. She is activating the song of the earth, and she is activating the energy centers of the earth and collective soul memory bank of humanity and individuals. She is that which is bringing in the shifts and changes, and therefore the disintegrating of the prisons of the 3D and 4th. The doors to the old earth have closed. They have been sealed off. Therefore, all will disintegrate which cannot raise its form to the higher frequency bands and exist in a much higher state. This goes for relationships, for society, for all structures and forms. It moves. It is dissolving. The masculine who has held power for so long, will start feeling that he is trying to fix too many holes and gaps, and whatever else. He will try to stem the tide as he hangs on to his ivory towers for too long. Instead of being excited at the new frontiers opening up, he tries to fix things which are not working any longer, and he is desperately trying to keep the status quo. The more he tries, the more he will find that he cannot keep the force of change at bay. He has to learn to become flexible in his thinking, acting, being, and more than this, he has to learn to open himself to the very feminine within himself which he has denied for so long. Not only that, but the very feminine he has kept at heel for so long, has burst forth and is already leading humanity into the new frontiers which have opened up, which he as yet has failed to see or acknowledged. He is still too much in his head, while she in her all-seeing, and in her knowing, has already broken through the barriers, and is right there in the fray. He thinks he knows. She knows. It is only when he finally realizes that she is leading him home to himself, and therefore when she is leading him to his greatest rebirth, and therefore into what is now the new way of life. She had to withdraw, she had to die and be reborn, and now she is blazing the new trails for humanity, while he is clinging on for dear life to what he created in the 3D. She is already creating the 5D and 7th. She sees the new frontiers and is willing to expand and open herself, and to manifest the new life into form. He is sensing this, but still wants to be in control. Yet, the moment he lets go of control and becomes flexible and fluid enough to allow himself to be reborn and reinvented by the divine, he finally can catch up with her. It takes brave men to do this, but once they have stepped through the portals and into the new frontiers with her, they will find that they are stretched to the core, to put into structure and form what she already has seen, absorbed, and is creating. Channeled by Judith Clusel. JudithClusel.com